The San Diego Padres hold at least a share of first place in the National League West. It is real. It is happening. Welcome into another edition of Friar Territory. Kyle Glaser alongside Heath Bell here, coming to you Wednesday evening following the Padres sweep of the San Francisco Giants. They are now up a half a game on the Los Angeles Dodgers for first place in the NL West. The Dodgers play the Angels tonight. So, depending on the outcome of that, the Padres will either be tied for first tomorrow, or they will be a full game up on the Dodgers for first place. Either way, the Padres are in first place. Heath, this is what
I'm rooting on the Halos right now. I'm rooting on the Angels. That's all. Angels in the outfield. Just rooting on them.
You know, this has been a very, very impressive surge. The Padres, on the morning of July 4th, were 9 games back of the Dodgers. In 6 weeks, we have seen a 9.5 game swing. And again, could be a 9-game swing or a 10-game swing, depending on the outcome of the Dodgers-Angels game tonight. But once again, this has been a rapid rise for the Padres. What have you taken away from what has transpired over the last 6 weeks?
Okay, so this is just a team that just, even when they struggle, slowly find games to win. And I think it's their pitching staff, and they're just not giving up. And then after the All-Star break, they kind of got a little hot. And then the trade deadline, they got some fresh blood. They got some help at the bottom of the lineup. And those guys are helping out. If you look at the games, that if you take the new guys away, they're probably not winning as many games. They're helping out, getting, the game-winning hit or a base hit or a home run, getting the RBIs that they weren't getting, 6-7 weeks ago when they dropped to 9 games back. So it was kind of like, okay, this team's kind of in the hunt, the wild card, maybe they could squeak into the playoffs. And now it's like, dude, they could win the division. So they're playing good fundamental baseball, but they filled up their holes, basically, like you've been saying, and it's showing.
No question about it. Once again, this has been an incredible surge. The Padres are 23-12 since the morning of July 4th. That is the second best record in the National League, behind only the red-hot Milwaukee Brewers in that time. This has been an impressive surge. Before we dive into it further, once again, everyone watching, listening, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Helps us out big time. We're on a big upward trend, just like the Padres, so make sure and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, Heath, so diving into this surge, you hit the nail on the head. The Padres are getting production from the bottom of their lineup that they were not getting all year. Since the trade deadline, the top 3 hitters in the Padres order are their 7, 8, 9 hitters. Freddie Fermin hitting .355, Ramon Laureano hitting .333, Jake Cronenworth hitting .316. For so much of this season, we talked about it, the Padres had the lowest OPS of any team in baseball from their 7, 8, 9 hitters up to the trade deadline. Worse than the White Sox, worse than the Pirates, worse than the Rockies, worse than all the bottom feeders. The Padres were the worst. And now that's become a strength. And when you add that to what was already a dominant pitching staff and a star-laden top of the order, you have a complete team. And that has been the biggest difference here. And you're exactly right. The bottom of the order becoming one of the best in baseball from one of the worst in baseball is the biggest change we have seen from this team and has fundamentally altered, frankly, how good they are.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't getting any production whatsoever from our catchers. And it was like, okay, they're our catchers, not a big deal. And then it was like, okay, left field, we need to find a guy. Sheets sometimes was doing well, or somebody else. And, we were like, hey, Wade maybe can pull it off or something. Now you got Sheets like playing every other day, where it's like you got a bench. It's not like you got guys on the bench that could come in and put some damage into the ball. And you also have players that are playing. So it's almost like you don't have a superstars and a AAA guys on the forgive me for saying it, but it kind of seemed like that. Now you got all big leaguers on the bench and in the lineup. And I mean, telling you, yeah, it's I don't know what else to say. It's one of those things that the trade deadline was very good to us this year, and we went out and filled up our holes. We didn't go get out in a superstar. We didn't go get a big marquee names. We got guys that we needed and filled up some holes, and now we're playing good fundamental baseball, and it's fun to watch.
So, Heath, we're going to dive into a little more. Their sweep of the Giants was absolutely dominant. We're going to look ahead to their upcoming series against the Dodgers. But before we do that, I want to dive into the fact that this is the latest in the season. The Padres have had at least a share of first place since 2010. It has been 15 years. You were part of the teams in both 2007 and 2010 where the Padres were in first place past this point in the season. Into September, each of those teams was in first place. Ultimately, both those teams missed the postseason in heart-wrenching fashion. So on the one hand, look, from the Padres' perspective, it's exciting. You're in first place. This was a goal. You can't finish in first place without getting there in the first place. So this is step one. But the idea, of course, is to stay in first place and to hold off a very, very good Dodgers team that is slumping now, but we all know how talented they are. What advice would you give the Padres? What are the lessons you learned from being a part of those two teams who had first place all to themselves in the NL West and ultimately fell short of making the postseason?
Honestly, don't think about the playoffs. Just go out there and play. Don't think, hey, if the Padres, say if the Dodgers lose tonight and they're solely first place, don't be like, oh, we're a first place team. We're going to win the division. No. Pretty sure a week ago you were thinking, hey, we got a chance of winning the division. But that's not what you want to do. You want to win a World Series. So don't think about winning the division. Think about just winning every day, winning every inning, and try not to rely on certain people. I remember 2010, we got some trades and we needed them to do anything and they didn't do anything. Not like these trades are doing now. And then
Ryan Ludwig and Miguel Tejada did not provide the impact hoped for at the deadline.
Well, the problem was then is Tejada and Ludwig didn't really hit, but the guys that were playing before him were platooning. And we had two guys at shortstop and two guys in left field. And if one wasn't hitting, the other one was. And they just, whoever was hot was playing and they didn't mind.
Yeah.
And the problem happened is when Luddy came over and didn't hit and Tejada didn't hit, those guys sat for 3 or 4 days, then got like one at bat or one day of playing once a week, and their rhythm got off and they were not fresh. I mean, literally, it was like, I think it was Scott Hairston and Chase Headley in the outfield.
Yeah.
They were playing every other day. It was very rare that you saw like Headley play 2 or 3 games in a row. It was almost like Headley played one game and did great.
Yeah.
Next game, he was 0 for 2, 0 for 3. Scotty came in, got a base hit. He got to play the next day.
Yeah.
And then he played his game and a half, 2 games. And then Chase came in. And it was rotating door like that. Everybody was fresh. Everybody was loose. Everybody was going to go in the game, kind of like it is now with the Padres. And in the 07, I think we just thought we were going to win.
Yeah.
And it was like, we got this. And we just fell short right at the end because I think it was like we already thought we were going to the playoffs and this and that. So my advice is just keep winning. Don't think about winning the division. Don't think about going to the playoffs. Just keep winning. And before you know it, you're going to be in the World Series and then just keep winning.
I think that's really good at points to make. Look, you have to focus on the here and now. You can't get caught looking ahead. You can't be thinking about division titles or World Series. You have to just focus on the day, what's right in front of you, and consistency in the lineup. Again, consistency in your approach, consistency of, guys just being able to go out and stay in a rhythm. And I think too, it's important to keep in mind, again, not to be a buzzkill. We just reached the 3/4 mark of the season. The Padres have played 121 games. They have 41 remaining. There's still a full quarter of the season left. So again, this is a tremendous first step. This is something the Padres have been going for. And again, something this franchise has not done in 15 years, be in first place this late in the season. So on the one hand, look, big accomplishment. Again, you can't finish in first place if you don't get in first place in the first place.
Yeah.
Tongue twister there. So again, big first step. And now they've got to hold on to it. At the same time, I think we can all acknowledge from the Padres players' perspective, it's got to be pretty exciting.
Well, I will also say when we were in first place for a long time in 2010, we did not have the fan support. I remember friends living in Encinitas, and they're like, "Hey, what place are you in?" I'm like, "Dude, we've been in first place for 2 months." Really? Did not know. So it was the city are all behind the boys playing ball. It wasn't like it was years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited, and Guys, just keep playing. Just keep playing ball. Even if you lose a game, just keep playing. Like I've said all along, win the series. I mean, it's great to sweep. Let's just win the series. Like I know everybody's going to be talking, we just swept the Giants. Let's go into LA and sweep them. No, let's win on Friday. And let's try to win on Saturday. And if that takes, then let's try to, sweep. But let's win the series. Let's go win the series. That's all we need to do.
The Padres have been doing a lot of that against winning teams. They've won 6 straight series against teams with winning records. Heath, I want to dive into more what took place during this Giants series. The Padres, of course, swept. They are now 14-3 in their last 17 games following the sweep. We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, and then we will dive right in.
Hey, we love ripping slab packs on Arena Club. I just ripped one in a Ruby pack. Those are fancy schmancy, Kip. And I pulled a Matt Shaw 2023 Bowman Draft Aqua Lunar Crater Refractor card. And guess what? Guess what? I got a little offer. You get the instant offer right away. Okay. So they're offering me $121. Sell it back, and then I can get a new slab pack. What do I do?
I want to see this thing. Hold on. Look at that. That's a beautiful card. You know what? I think that's a safe bet. I think it's going to make you a little bit of money. I think the more big league time he gets, I'd almost take the deal, though. I'm in it for the chase. I like opening more packs. I think that 121 can buy you a couple more slabs to open. And I think you keep chasing until you get someone you really like. But that's the best part about it for me.
That's right. You can sell it back, $121, and then open up another slab pack. Use the code FOUL to receive 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul.
All right, Heath. The Padres swept the Giants in dominant fashion over these past 3 games. They outscored the Giants 20-3, including an 11-1 beatdown in the series finale this afternoon. Padres got a taste of first place, decided they wanted to stay in it, and they really went to town on the Giants today. What was your overall takeaway from this series and just how dominant the Padres were throughout these 3 games?
I mean, I don't have the stats, but watching the games, I see the guys hitting the ball everywhere on the baseball field.
Yeah.
The offense, the pitching staff's been pitching, but they've been pitching all year. So it's kind of like, just keep doing what you're doing, boys.
Yeah.
But the offense, it seems like literally they're hitting the ball to right, center, left. They're hitting the ball, they're spraying it everywhere. And it's not Slam Diego. Nobody's, out there just crushing it. When we won 7-1, it wasn't like, hey, we hit 4 home runs and we were just crushing the ball. So it's guys are hitting the ball, and hits are contagious. And we hear this all the time. Home runs are overrated because they shut down the rally. I mean, you think about it. If a team keeps getting hits, they keep getting hits. It's a rally booster. But if somebody hits a home run, it's exciting, but then there's usually not a bunch of hits after it. It kind of kills the rally, a home run. So I like to see the long ball, but, man, I like to see everybody get hits. And the guys are swinging the bat, and like I said early on, the new guys are getting base hits. They're not crushing the ball. I mean, there was a home run today, but it was –
Laureano's had some big home runs, I will say.
But what I'm saying is they're hitting the ball.
Yes, contact. And look, I'm not quite on the home runs or rally killers
They are.
Page, but there's no question. The Padres offense is hitting for average and also hitting for power, the best of both worlds. And this is what really crystallizes it to me again. The Padres are 23-12 since the morning of July 4th, when they were 9 games back of the Dodgers. The Padres, since that time, are 3rd in the majors in ERA. That's not a surprise. They've been top 5 in the majors in ERA pretty much the entire season. What has changed is this offense. Since that date, the morning of July 4th, the Padres are 3rd in the majors in batting average. They are 7th in slugging percentage. This team is hitting for average and power. And that is something that is fundamentally different from who this team was early in the season. And because of it, they are a better team. By the way, I apologize. 3rd in average and 7th in OPS.
Yeah, it was like we were the 7th bottom.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. And the 3rd bottom in the summer. So now it's nice to be on the top side.
Again, and this was a bottom 5 offense for the better part of 2.5 months. And what do you know? You have a complete team. All of a sudden, you're going to win a lot more games. And again, to your point, we're seeing Freddie Fermin, right? Hitting 355. There's a home run in there, but it's not been like he's come out with this huge power surge. Ramon Laureano, again, 2 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers, hitting 333. It's everything. He's hitting for average, hitting for power, extra bases, all of it. Jake Cronenworth has been on an 18-game on-base streak. Again, some days it's been walks, some days it's been hit by pitches. We saw him draw a bases loaded walk. He's also getting, hitting doubles. He had a homer. But I think, and we're also seeing, again, some of the big name players who were going through some slumps start to pick it up. We've talked about Xander Bogaerts and how he's hitting 340 since mid-June. But Jackson Merrill was in a really, really, really rough slump since the trade deadline. He's hitting 283. I mean, he has been really, really, really solid over these last couple weeks. Again, Fernando Tatis Jr. had a great July, struggled a little bit start of August, but on the whole, during this surge, he's been fantastic. When you're getting contributions from your stars and your depth, that's when you know you're a good team. And realistically, where I think you have optimism about the Padres right now is they are a complete team. They're beating the winning teams. We talked about this. They were 18-31 against teams with winning records in late July. Now they've won 6 straight series against teams with winning records. They're winning at home. They're winning on the road, something they weren't doing. So I think for the Padres, when you say, can they sustain this? Can they keep this going? Look, they've got to stay healthy. They've got to keep producing. But it's not like earlier in the season where you looked at this roster and saw, man, there's just a lot of holes here. There's a lot of areas of weakness that could be exploited. That's not the case anymore. And I really do think what we are seeing now from the Padres, again, when you say, is it sustainable? They've won 14 of 17. They're not going to maintain that pace the rest of the year, but they certainly are a team that I think is going to be in this to the very end. I do not expect them to fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I just think they're winning. They have a rally. It's almost like the Milwaukee Brewers, they're just been crushing the ball, and all of a sudden this surge. I mean, nobody expected that to happen. And the Padres, I think people have okay, they've gotten better. They fixed some holes, and now they're starting to see what kind of a San Diego Padre team can be. And so I think they're just going to keep rolling, and they may not sweep everybody, but I do predict them to keep winning series. And before you know it, they're going to, I'm not saying they're going to have a best record in baseball, but their record's going to be up there in the top 3.
One thing during this Giants series I thought was really, really encouraging. Again, we just talked about the offense and how the pitching staff is going to be good. But Yu Darvish came out and had a very, very good start after, he had a great start he had 3 rough starts coming off the IL, great start against the Mets, took a step back against the D-backs, just had a really, really good start against the Giants. Nick Pivetta, after having his worst start in 2.5 months against his old team, the Red Sox, on Friday, came out today, was back to being Nick Pivetta. So when you see your best starting pitchers bounce back, and yes, I know the Giants offense isn't very good. Yes, I know it's in San Francisco. At the same time, you can only compete against who you're playing, and the Padres are taking care of business. And I do think that seeing their starting pitchers, their frontline starters, shake off bad outings and get right back to dominating, that's what you want to see at this time of the year, because you always worry about fatigue. You always worry about, our guys running out of gas. And I think Yu Darvish, showing he's getting further and further away from his injury, and Nick Pivetta's ability to bounce back from a bad outing, it was great to see in this series.
Yeah, I had a couple coaches in rookie ball, Tim Foley and Bill Champion. They said, I love when starters have a bad game every 4th or 5th game. And I said, why do you want to have a bad game? Brings them back to reality. And then they keep working hard and they dominate for 3 or 4 games. Then they get a little cocky for 1 game, and then they got to be humbled, and then they just come back to dominate again. So that's kind of where I'm at, but I think they're a big league level where maybe every 10th game kind of struggle a little bit, and then you're back to reality, and you're not as good as you think you are, and then you dominate. Maybe you are as good as you think you are. So it's great to see those guys can bounce back. I mean, Yu Darvish is basically starting to be mid-season. Yeah. King's going to get there in a start or 2, and Nick Pivetta, I just think he was like, man, I'm going to strike everybody out and show them that I'm so much better. And I think he just, it was more of the I want to show the Red Sox what they missed out on. And it just went south. And now he's like, I'm just going to pitch, and he's dominating again. So it's great to see.
Yeah, again, Yu Darvish in the series opener on Monday, 6 innings, 4 hits allowed, 1 run, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Nick Pivetta in the finale today. Again, the offense gave him a big cushion to work with. 6 2/3 scoreless, 4 innings, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 Ks. So again, the starters are doing their thing. The lineup is doing their thing. And the Padres are looking like a team that has a legitimate chance to compete for a World Series. Again, Not going to sit here and say they're definitely going, they're definitely going to win. There's a lot of season left. There's a lot of really good teams left. And like you said, Heath, I want to bring it back to this point. You can't get caught looking ahead. You can't get caught thinking, oh, we got this. We're going to make the playoffs. It's just going to happen. And you can't, you have to make sure you are staying consistent. You're staying in rhythm. You can't start taking too many days off. The Padres, again, not that I expect this team to. We've seen the character of this team be very, very focused. But I do think it's important to note that, again, this isn't just going to happen. They have to keep up what they've been doing.
Yeah, if they win the division, the only thing that I'll worry about is them going, yeah, we won the division, this and that. It's like, hey, we're still playing games. Keep going. I don't want to win just the division. I want to keep going. So, right now they're doing really well, and I'm excited, and it's fun to watch them. And I will be honest, if I'm going to be very critical, this weekend and next weekend will be the real telltale sign because, it's kind of like, I hate to say it, but the Dodgers are like your big brother that was always the all-star and you're kind of up and coming and you can beat them, but it's like preventive Nick trying to get the Red Sox. Are you going to get too amped up or this and that? Just keep playing your game. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just because it's the Dodgers or the division or whatnot, just keep playing. So I don't want it to happen. That's what my only little worry on this weekend. Is it going to be like Nick that was trying to give it to the Red Sox? Are they going to be like, hey, we're tied with you or we're one game up. We're going to stick it to you. No, just play baseball and you'll win. That's all you got to do.
And Heath, we are going to talk about that upcoming Dodgers series here in a quick minute. We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors, then we will dive into the I-5 showdown coming up.
Kratz, tell everyone why they need to look into a virtual private network, aka a VPN.
It's kind of like wearing trousers. It keeps everything private and secure whenever you venture out.
That's good. That's really good. And Surfshark creates user-friendly privacy and security solutions to protect your data and your privacy online. It enables you to virtually explore the globe, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and block ads and malware that may disrupt your experience. So go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout at surfshark.com to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and the FT fam is hooked up with 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN when you sign up at surfshark.com and use the code FOUL. It is time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today.
All right, Heath, the Padres now have a day off on Thursday. Then they open a 3-game series in LA against the Dodgers. The Padres, as we've talked about, have been red hot. 23-12 since the morning of July 4th to make up their 9-game deficit, 14-3 over their last 17 games. The Dodgers have been going the other direction. The Dodgers are 12-20 since they extended that lead to 9 games since the morning of July 4th. They are just now going up against the Angels in the series finale. First pitch was a few minutes ago. And the Angels, who are a sub-500 team, are 5-0 against the Dodgers this year. They beat them in walk-off fashion on Tuesday night to help the Padres move into a share of first place. The Dodgers are scuffling. What are you seeing right now, just, again, knowing the mindset of having a big lead, trying to hold on to it, watching them, and just what is your overall assessment of the National League West race? Because, again, it's not just about what the Padres do. It also depends what the Dodgers do.
Well, see, I think the Dodgers have a bunch of injuries and they're kind of stumbling. But also what I was talking to a friend about was, the World Series hangover. That's why there hasn't been, somebody that, won back-to-back World Series, because it seems like you go to the World Series, you win it, you struggle the next year. If it's injury or whatever it is. And I think they're just kind of dealing with that now. I mean, the monkey on their back was they didn't win a World Series. It was the pandemic year or whatnot, but everybody was saying it's not legit. You've won the division, but you can't do it in the playoffs. Well, they finally did it. And I feel like, you went out and got a couple guys this offseason, but they've been hurt. They haven't really panned out. And I just feel like they've relied on – here's the thing. I don't know if people are going to understand this, but I was talking to my son about it. I feel like the Dodgers have relied so much on sabermetrics and the numbers. When people are hurt, they're still doing that. with other guys, and it's just not panning out. Like they're trying certain things instead of going, hey, you know what? Maybe we should change it up. Maybe we should do some baseball knowledge here. And I just feel like because Ohtani is still hitting the ball, but Mookie Betts is in a bad slump. Freddie Freeman's still swinging the bat, but not getting key hits. So it's kind of just like, I don't know what's going on over there, where I just think they're kind of in a spiral and they don't know how to get out of it, really.
I will push back on them being too sabermetrically inclined. This is a very good scouting organization. They do a good job combining scouting and numbers. What I will say that has been surprising, we talk about the Padres offense and how they had so many holes and they addressed them. If you look at the Dodgers since the morning of July 4th, when this whole started, when the Dodgers started going down, when the Padres started going up, the most surprising thing to me is it's actually been concentrated in their offense, not their pitching staff, which we know has dealt with a ton of injuries. So since that date, since the morning of July 4th, the Dodgers pitching staff is actually in the top half in baseball in ERA. They're 14th. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Their offense is 20th in the majors in batting average. This team that has so many offensive weapons up top has a lot of holes at the bottom. And in some ways, they have kind of started being what the Padres were like early in the season. I talk about batting average. They're even lower in runs scored, going back and looking at it, 30, 20, 20, 27, 23. I mean, they're 25th in the majors in runs scored since July 4th. And a big part of it is you look at some of the guys they're running out there. The Padres, to their credit, when they knew a guy just wasn't working, they cut bait. They DFA'd Yuli Gurriel by the end of April. They DFA'd Jason Hayward in mid-June. They DFA'd Martin Maldonado the second they got another catcher. The Dodgers are still running Michael Conforto out there. He's cooked. He's done. Like, there's no point in this anymore. And when you do that, you are wasting at-bats. And I think that's been the most interesting change to me here is all of a sudden the Padres are the offense that's top 10 over the last 6 weeks. And the Dodgers are the offense that's bottom 10. And it's for the same reasons the Padres were struggling. They are wasting too many at-bats on guys who just don't have it and can't do it anymore. And that's hurting their team.
Like the Dodgers got rid of two guys that his name is drawing blank right now. Two guys mid-season. It was like the longest Dodger players forever.
They DFA'd Austin Barnes. That's not why they're struggling.
Not Barnes. It was it was Barnes and somebody else. And my thing is, I feel like they're like these guys that are here are going to hit. They're going to hit. And it's like, it's just not panning out. It's not working. Some baseball is like sometimes the guy's not working. You got to let it go. You got to find somebody else, even though he has, potentially good numbers or a second half player. He's just not got it this year for whatever reason. And if you're going to try to win, you got to let him go. And I feel like the Dodgers aren't doing that because in the past they didn't have to.
Yeah.
And that's where I say the cybermetrics, they're holding on to guys a little bit too long. I could be wrong in this, but that's just kind of how I feel because I know they're big. I know they're big in scouting and all that stuff, but that's a lot of cybermetrics too. This guy's going to do this guy's going to do this. And
when you look, yeah, I mean, there's times where, yes, you look at underlying data and think it's going to work, and it's just not going to work. I say, as we say this, the Dodgers are taking a 3-0 lead on the Angels in the top of the first. Will Smith, 2-run homer. But look, you look at their starting lineup tonight, the bottom three hitters in their order. Alex Call, who to his credit is doing okay this year, but that's a 4th, 5th outfielder type. That's your 7-hitter. Alex Freeland, a rookie who's just called up. Again, he's talented. He certainly has a future, but this is a young kid learning on the fly. And of course, he's hitting sub 200. Then Miguel Rojas is your 9-hitter tonight. Again, your 7, 8, 9 hitters, it's just not what you want to see from a team that is trying to compete for a division title down the stretch. Look, Mookie Betts has struggled. A lot of that's based on the fact he had this terrible illness before the season, dropped 20 pounds. I mean, that's why he's struggling. When you lose that much strength, that much mass, it's hard to stay strong and healthy over the course of the season. Look, Will Smith's getting his. Shohei Ohtani's getting his. Freddie Freeman's getting his. Teoscar Hernandez is still productive. Andy Pages has been fine. But look, when the bottom 3 hitters in your lineup are not really starting caliber players on a playoff team, and 1 or 2 of your key guys is not having his best season, it's hard to win consistently. The Padres learned that the entire first half of the season. And in some ways, that's what's kind of amazing here is the Dodgers lineup has kind of flipped places with the Padres lineup.
Yeah. And on the bright side, I will say I didn't think the Angels were going to sweep the Dodgers, but I was hoping.
I would have been surprised. They did it once this year in LA, which was
Hey,
so
I was jumping up and down last night when they walked them off. That's why I was doing this early on. Like, come on.
We'll see. So
Ron Washington's doing a great job over there.
I want to get your perspective on this the other way, right? So we talked about you were part of the Padres teams that had big leads and couldn't hold them. The Dodgers right now are a team that is in that position of, hey, they're the team that was up big. They've lost the lead. Now they're trying to scramble to get it back. What is going through their minds right now? And what are some of the things that you learned from your experiences about how to handle that and what will make or break the Dodgers and how they approach this final quarter of the season, given what has happened?
So the easiest way to say it is you can't panic. You can't be like, oh my gosh, we got to like say Mookie Betts is struggling. I know he was sick, but let's just take that out of the equation. He's not having the best year. I mean, it's fine. Mookie Betts has had great years for years.
Yeah.
And I totally expect him to have another good year or MVP year next year. So it's just, he's having an off year. I don't think he's has been or he's not good anymore. I just think, he's struggling.
He's having a bad year. This is a great player having a bad year.
What I'm saying is, like, say Mookie doesn't go, okay, I got to go do extra work. I got to do this. Where Bogarts struggled early on and he was just working hard. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, we need to get rid of him, this and that. What's the deal? Throw in the towel.
Hey, you were ready to throw in the towel. You had the towel. You had it on
it right here. So, but my point is, it just seemed like over the course of the season, I wasn't ready to throw it in because he was my pick to come back player of the year. He just kind of stuck to the course and just kept grinding. And now he's taken off and doing really well. Where the Dodgers, hopefully I'm not giving them any tidbits, but the last couple of weeks, they should just be putting their head down and doing their work and say, it's going to change. The tide's going to change. It's okay. Let's not overdo things. Let's not underdo things. Let's just go and keep working hard. If you have success, keep working hard. Don't be like, okay, I'm back to where I'm at. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't change anything. And that's where a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, this and that, where I think Dave Robertson over there and the coaching staff will tell them it's okay. It's all right. But here's the other side is I know the LA fans are going to be like, don't worry about it. All our players aren't, back yet, or we've had a lot of injuries. They're coming back. I call that BS a lot, but it's one of those things that you got to be a complete team. And the Dodgers have always had guys that come up and have produced right away. This is the first year that people haven't produced right away that they got. So, or they didn't have a bench guy take over for somebody else. So they're I think they were spoiled the last couple of years and now they have to grind and they've got to play. And like, here's my thing. If you play baseball, you play small ball. I love how the Padres are getting guys over, bunting. They're still doing that with the last couple of weeks. Not every game. You saw the Dodgers do that in the playoffs. I don't see the Dodgers doing that while they're struggling. So it's kind of like you got to get back to the fundamentals and just play the game. Don't try to be Slam Diego. Don't try to hit a bunch of home runs. Don't be like, okay, we need a bunch of hits. Hey, maybe we just got to manufacture some runs. So, maybe Ohtani needs to steal second and third. And we get a sac fly and be okay with the sac fly. I know Jackson Merrill, there was like 2 or 3 games that he got a bunch of sac flies, as in he didn't even get RBI. It was from second to third. And the next guy got him in, and it worked. And, I think, they should have like a half RBI for those. But, it's one of those things that it helped the team win because if he didn't get that sac fly, then the next guy wouldn't have got him in on his sac fly or, ground ball to second base or wherever it was to score him. So it's a team effort. And I just think the Dodgers aren't playing team ball right now. I mean, they probably will since I'm saying it against the Angels now. But, hey, don't play team effort, the next 2 weeks.
We will see what happens. Again, the Padres open up a 3-game series against the Dodgers on Friday. Then they face the Giants for 4 at home at Petco Park, and then 3 more against the Dodgers. And again, these games are critical. Look, yes, first place is on the line. But on top of it, the head-to-head matchups, which ultimately are a tiebreaker. The Dodgers won 5 of the first 7 against the Padres this season. So the Padres, I mean, they can't lose more than 2 of these games against the Dodgers. If they do, the Dodgers get the head-to-head tiebreaker. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how
Yeah,
this
if the
play out.
Padres win both series, they're still going to be 7-6. The Dodgers are still going to have the tiebreaker. So
So
they just need
that is something to watch. But and also it's kind of crazy that these two teams don't face off at any point in September. This series not this weekend, the weekend after in August. That's it. So this is the shot for both of these teams to create some separation, to win that head-to-head tiebreaker, and try and just get on the right, path down the stretch. Again, the Padres we've talked about have been on the right path. We'll see if they can keep it up. The Dodgers are trying to reverse the recent slide. Really, it's a brand new season with a quarter of the season left. Again, the Padres, as of this recording, have a half game lead for first place in the NL West. The Dodgers are beating the Angels. If that stays true, we'll wake up tomorrow morning and we will have a tie for first place in the NL West with 41 games left in the season. I got to tell you, Heath, it's going to be fun. This is going to be wild. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's just going to be fun, competitive, epic baseball, which we've gotten accustomed to whenever these two teams face off. This weekend series is going to be wild at Chavez Ravine. The series at Petco Park, I'm sure, will be equally wild. This is what baseball is all about. As just someone who loves the game, who has covered the game for years, who's devoted his life to the game in a lot of ways, and you, of course, devoted your life to the game, this is what it's all about. Like, I know there's going to be a lot of shots being fired on Twitter, fan bases chirping at each other. I'm sure there'll be some tense moments on the field. This is fun. This is a blast. Like, this is what it's all about. I think this final quarter of the season is going to be wild. And if nothing else, incredibly entertaining and fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. This is what baseball's all about. And, this is in baseball right now, this is probably the biggest rival this year. I mean, I don't really see any really other huge rivals. So it's been building for a while.
Yeah. And again, this is the discussion that a lot of people have, right? Of course, from a historical perspective, Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, Dodgers, Giants, of course, those are bigger rivalries.
Oh, yeah.
But in this window in time, this 5-year period, the Dodgers and Padres has been the most bitter rivalry in baseball. I mean, these two teams have cleared the benches 3 times in the last 5 seasons. And that doesn't even include, last year, the stuff being thrown on the field. I mean, you cannot find another rivalry in baseball where you've had 3 benches clearing incidents in 5 seasons. Like, that takes the cake. So
it's literally the Red Sox and the Yankees in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's literally when everybody was talking about them. That's what it's like now.
And the parallel is, at that point, the Yankees had won a bunch of World Series. The Red Sox hadn't won any, and they kept trying to overcome the Yankees, and they kept falling a little short. Eventually, they broke through. And that is the hope from the Padres' perspective that happens. We will see if that is what happens this year. For now, we have at minimum, a tie for first place in the NL West. And by the end of tonight, could be Padres a game up. Either way, it's going to be fun. Heath, any final thoughts as we wrap up this special live edition of Friar Territory?
No, boys, just get some rest tomorrow because this weekend's going to be very emotionally and physically draining. That's all. And fans, same thing. Rest up tomorrow because this weekend is going to be emotional draining. Even if we win all 3 or win the series or what.
Yeah.
It's just going to be emotionally. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great
I have to say, you know what I love about this? So Padres fans accuse me of being a Dodgers fan all the time, like on social media. I hear it from them all the time. And then Dodgers fans accuse me of being a Padres fan all the time. Like, you look at the comments on YouTube and social media, and that's just funny to me. Again, I'm a reporter who's been reporting on the game from a national perspective for over a decade now. I wrote multiple cover stories about the Dodgers and everything they were doing great. I wrote multiple cover stories about the Padres, everything they were doing great. Being in Southern California, Lord knows I've covered both of these teams, probably hundreds of games at this point over the course of a decade, have tremendous respect for both organizations. I just have to say, it's just so funny to me how there's like this constant, like, you're clearly a Dodger, you're clearly a Padre. All this, I'm like,
It's
dude,
because
I'm just a reporter who's objectively reporting what's happening and enjoying the show.
Because you're honest. That's why. So when the Padres are winning this summer, you were very critical. Like, they got a bunch of holes. They can't beat the Dodgers if they're going to have holes and do this. And it's true, but the Padre fans don't want to hear that. And then the Dodgers, you probably said the same thing somewhere down the road, and it's true, but they don't want to hear it.
Well, I think a lot of it started with Roki Sasaki because I was talking, I was doing a lot of analysis because I covered him a lot in Japan about what's going to happen. I said from the outset, look, The Dodgers and Padres, the two favorites, the Dodgers slightly ahead. But, we'll see what happens. And in the course of those discussions, I did a lot of TV appearances, wrote a few things. I was curious to see which team has gotten better production from their starting pitchers in the majors since 2022 when Ruben Niebla showed up, just to kind of see, because this was going to be a major league development situation. This wasn't like a farm system situation. It was like, hey, which team does a better job of getting the best out of guys in the majors? Who gets the best production out of them in the majors? And I looked since 2022, Padres starters had thrown more innings with a lower ERA and a higher strikeouts per 9 rate. And I just thought it was really interesting. So I put it on Twitter like, hey, here's some interesting kind of info about how these two, teams have performed in terms of getting the most from their starters in the majors. Oh my God. You would have thought I started a holy war. It was for days. Oh my God. You're a Padre homer. I'm like, and then the Dodger fans jumped in, the Padre fans jumped in. I was like, oh my God. I tend not to engage, but a few times I was like, guys, it's information. Chill. Deep breaths.
Well, they don't want to hear they don't want to hear facts.
Okay. And I mean, again, it's just so funny to me because I've literally written multiple cover stories about each of these teams when they've done great things. And Lord knows I've been very critical of both of these teams when they've really screwed up. I mean, go listen to some of the old BA podcasts when the Dodgers did a lot of stupid stuff in the postseason and when the Padres did a lot of really, really poor roster construction. I called it out. Like you said, I will always be honest. I will always tell you what I think, good, bad. And it's just very fun in me how that has somehow turned into two fan bases thinking I simultaneously root for the other one. It's just, I kind of find it humorous.
I think it's awesome.
I guess it means I'm doing something right. What's the old line? If you're not, making someone angry, you're not doing something right.
Yeah, you're not doing it right.
We'll see what happens. So either way, again, this will be fun.
Great weekend.
I'm sure my Twitter mentions will blow up as usual this weekend, and I will just chuckle and enjoy the show. I will also be out in LA covering some of the games. I won't be at all of them. I have a few family commitments on Saturday. I committed to taking my family to Disneyland, 4-year-old daughter. So family first, but I will be out there at various points during the series. Heath, thank you again for your insight and expertise as always. It's the fun time of year.
Yes, it is.
All right, everyone, that'll do it for another edition of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. Go ahead and give us a review, subscribe, like Apple, YouTube, Spotify, whatever platform you're watching, listening on. Heath, doing the Angels in the outfield. So
let's go Angels.
For Heath Bell, I'm Kyle Glaser. Thank you for watching and listening. We will see you later this week.